Well, you want to get started then? I got some whiskey here. I got this sweet new glass. Was it the Glencairn glass, right?
The Glencairn, yeah, it's
Glencairn.
Yeah, it started as a Scotch whiskey tasting glass, scientifically designed to give you the best nose and taste, all that. But obviously bourbon drinkers like it as well. Man, it's good to see you.
You as well, Aaron.
Yeah, it's good to be back, Jeff, on this side of the desk.
On this side of the desk. Yeah, it's really weird being on this side of the interview. Every once in a while, like, you know, with the new album that came out, I've been doing the whole promotional thing. So I've been doing a lot more interviews lately, and it's just very odd being the one getting interviewed, and it's really hard because sometimes I will analyze the guy who's interviewing me like, man, I would not have asked a question like that. But it's like, all right, well, there you go.
Well, take your critical hat off because, you know, I'm a newbie. So
you're my friend. You're my friend. So I'm going to talk to you just like I talk to my friends.
Yeah.
Not some stranger.
Be as gentle as you were the last time you were in this room. Okay. How does that sound?
All right, man. All
right. Well, yeah, I do want to drink some whiskey with you, but first of all, you've got big news. So I guess by the time this airs at the end of the month, it won't be such new news. But tell me what's been going on with you the last couple of weeks, Jeff.
Yeah, well, we got the album that came out called Heaven, and then we're working with an artist or a writer out of Round Rock area named Aaron Reed, who is producing his own fly fishing podcast episodes here for us the next few weeks. And we're really looking forward to that midweek episode every other week. So starting in April. So we're very excited, Aaron, about you hosting your own show. I mean, you got to be excited. I mean, that's something that you and I talked about, even, you know, right behind you there on that couch. I hung out with you one night. We've been talking about it probably since then.
Yeah. So, a couple of years ago. Right. So, yeah. I think that was about 2 years ago. So that's, I don't know, you know, I'm a slow starter and I've been a little busy as you have, but I'm super excited about this. I mean, the more we've talked about it and people have been really gracious to say they'd come on the show. I mean, first I got you, who you're well on your way to becoming king of all fly fishing media, apparently. And, Kirk Deeter was kind enough to come in as my first official guest. This is, I guess we're calling this a bonus episode. And Kirk will be talking with Kirk next week. This has been such a weird year for us, Jeff. I mean, with the pandemic, and the Recreational Boating and Fishing Foundation just released a study that estimates that we added 17 million new anglers and boaters in 2020. 17 million. 17
million.
Yes. Brand new, never done it before.
Wow.
And
wow.
You know, and so it's just been and it makes perfect sense, you know, for all the reasons that you know, some of us are old hands at social distancing. We've been doing this for a long time because, you know, we enjoy getting out on the water and getting away from people. But a lot of other people have discovered it this year. So Kirk is a great person to give us kind of a 30,000-foot view of that. He's been writing about it a lot over the last year, and as a vice president for Trout Unlimited and editor-in-chief of Angling Trade magazine, which he founded, which is the industry magazine, he really has his finger on that pulse. And over the next 3 months or so, I'll be talking to guides. I'll be talking to people who just started fly fishing this year or in the last year. As a matter of fact, my guests after Kirk, Jen and John Pelicano, Jen just posted something on Instagram or Facebook yesterday saying, well, it's been a year since we started fly fishing. I know because my fishing license just expired today. And so I'm really looking forward to talking to all these different folks who have been affected in different ways during the pandemic year, and you know, just to see what their thoughts are and where do we go from here.
And just for those, maybe you're just not listening and this is your first time, this is your first year fly fishing. Don't always listen to when your fishing license expires, because in Michigan, they all expire on the exact same day, no matter when your birthday is, no matter when you bought it. You have to renew it March 1st. So that's something that has to happen in Michigan. When I first moved to Michigan, I went and got my plates renewed. In Texas, you get your plates renewed once a year well, back then you did. I'm not sure how it goes now. It's been 20 years. But I bought my car, or I re-registered my car in April. My birthday's in May. So my plate that I bought in April expired in May. I didn't know it. I thought I had a whole year. Got pulled over by a cop and got a ticket. Had no idea why. I was like,
wow.
Why am I getting a ticket right now? Oh, okay. So make sure, check with your local, your licensing issuer to make sure that it's once a year, your birthday or whatever.
Yeah, so check with your local fish and game department. So I was just looking at some license data from Texas Parks and Wildlife Department, which is our fish and game agency. And just looking at the huge increase in numbers, and I wasn't seeing that, hundreds of thousands of fishing licenses, freshwater fishing licenses, until I got down to the row that was year-to-date licenses, which was many times the fiscal year license, which is the traditional way of selling it in Texas. But for some years now in Texas, you can buy a year-to-date license, which is what Jen and John did, and usually what I do, because I forget and I have a big trip coming up. I'm like, oh dang, I need to go get my license, and so rather, like you said, for your car registration, rather than have a license that's good for a month or 3 weeks or whatever, I just buy the year to date. So, and it seems like that's what the majority of people in Texas do now, and I think that is an option in a lot of states, actually.
Yeah. So that's awesome. Aaron. It's good to see that many new people coming in the sport. Maybe they'll listen to some podcasts, and
buy some music.
Yeah. Come out to one of our live shows that we got coming up. Learn how to tie some flies.
I'm so excited about that. All right. Well, hey, let's start with, I think it's time for this, is it not?
Okay. Which one do you have? I can't see that one because it's
all whited out, isn't it?
Yeah. Which one is that? That's the straight malt whiskey.
It's the Distiller's Choice, Distiller's Edition, the 4-grain.
Okay.
Did you see it there? Good. Is it clear now?
4-grain. Got it. Here we go. So I got these cool little bottles. I don't think it's legal to mail these in Michigan, so I got this. I
didn't mail them in Michigan, so
I got these. I got these from a friend.
Yes.
All right. So now, special thanks to Real Ale. Okay. I've never used one of these before. So how do you do this? How do you work with this? So I pour a little in there.
Yes, into the open end.
Okay.
Yeah.
And not the closed end.
Not the closed end. And then you hold it upright. Yeah, just let it breathe a little bit, and you can stick your nose in there and chew on it, and
I was going to peel the paint off my house, off my music room here.
Yeah, well, I saw you were preparing yourself with some water there. And
yeah.
After you try it neat, add a drop of water or one ice cube, and it is very likely going to change the taste of the whiskey altogether. So this is Real Spirits, which is the distillery portion of Real Ale Brewing. Real Ale Brewing makes Fireman's 4, Devil's Backbone Triple, one of my favorite beers, Swifty, which is an American pale ale, and that's one of my favorite go-to river beers. Tonight I've been drinking a new lager they have called Crispy Business, but they also make some really fantastic whiskeys, and the person who makes those is a good friend of ours, a mutual friend, Davin Topol.
Yeah.
I think he's been on your show.
Yeah, he's been on. Hey, hold up that other beer can, that new one that they got. Is that like an 80s vibe? That is it's like a play on Tron.
Yeah, I guess. Or Risky Business. I have no idea, but all of their new, they've got one called 8-track Amber. So it's all like 70s, 80s style design. It's kind of cool.
Yeah. Who designed the cans and stuff? Is that your friend Alana or whatever, or is it someone else?
No, not as far as I know. I don't know who's doing their design work.
All right, so should we try this neat then?
Yeah, let's take a little sip. Well, so smelling it, I told Davin when I was at the distillery the other day, I said, I would love to, use all of those, big words about the nose and the palate and the finish, but really, I just know if I like whiskey or I don't like it.
This is the blue collar fly fishing, right?
That's right. I mean, who the hell even knows what marzipan is, right?
That's a damn good whiskey, Aaron.
Oh, I love it. Okay, so this one has malted barley, corn, rye, and wheat, and these are barrels that they had set aside for a while, and it's aged a minimum of
34 months.
34 months, yeah, so almost 3 years, which is a long time for the Texas climate. And this is delicious.
It's amazing.
Yeah, so I definitely get the corn in there, and definitely get the oak char, but it's soft, and I think that comes from the wheat. A lot of wheated whiskeys are kind of softer on the finish and have a longer finish, and this is really nice.
Very, very nice. Very nice.
All right. Well, let's keep talking, and
okay.
When you finish that one, maybe we can try another if you like.
Yeah, for sure. Now, I just recently tonight I was out for pizza with my family, and I didn't drink any beer there because I knew we were doing this. I'm like, I can't have beer and drink whiskey with Aaron tonight. Hold on one second. I had a boo-boo. I spilled. Hold on one second.
Yep.
Oh. I'm in front of my piano, where my music room. So it's not the first time I spilled whiskey on my piano. That sounds like a song right there, Aaron. Whiskey on my piano.
That's not the first time I've spilled whiskey on my piano. Is definitely a song.
That's good. I have to write that one down. I'm working on a song right now off of the Tennessee Waltz. You ever hear that song?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I'm working on a song that's like a medley that goes into the Tennessee Waltz. Pretty excited about that one. But anyways, that's not the first time I spilled whiskey on my piano. That sounds like a good song.
Well, do you want to play us a verse from that new one?
I hope I don't come through too I don't say you looked at me like I'd never leave you away. I don't want to do it. I'll do it some other time.
Okay.
Piano's not my favorite thing, so that might not work very well.
Dude, I didn't even know you played the piano.
I do sometimes because it gives me it's a different instrument. It's laid out differently. I'm not I'm not like a jazz pianist, but I know the chords and I know music.
Well, you did all of the instruments on your first EP, your songs about fly fishing, correct? Which people can still get off your website. Is that right?
Yeah, I didn't do all of the instruments on that. I did a lot of them, but I didn't do all of them. I can play all of those. But I'm kind of a jack of all trades, master of none. Guitar is really my main instrument, so.
And you're a really fine guitar player. I heard you. I've heard you be humble about this in the past, and there was an evening or two back in June when I watched you pull out your own stuff, pull out covers, and then fall right in with some blues numbers that maybe you'd never heard before, but you can do a blues progression like nobody's business, and even a solo, and you were the band leader around the campfire, and I was truly impressed with your mastery and just your overall musicality, Jeff.
Wow.
And you're the real deal. Kirk Deeter likes to say that he's a writer who happens to fly fish. And you're a songwriter and a singer-songwriter who happens to fly fish, not just an angler who dabbles in music. So I think it's an important distinction, and really appreciate what you're doing. So tell me about the new album, which I've heard, and I absolutely love.
Well, thank you very much. I appreciate you, first of all, inviting me onto your show. I mean, it's probably kind of unusual for our listeners to hear me on this side, and it's kind of weird to talk about myself on Remote No Pressure. But
I've wanted to do this for a long time, and if you had ever had me back for interview number 3 or 4 or whatever, I was just going to I was tired of talking about me, so I was going to turn the tables and just interview you the whole time.
Yeah. Well, I wrote the songs. 10-Foot Pole I wrote probably 12 years ago. That was the very first song that I ever wrote about fishing. And I'll get real because you know me very well, Aaron, and the listeners may not know I have a pretty religious background. I grew up in a very religious home. And I was told, and my parents, to be honest, I have no bitterness, or I love my parents. I really think, if you think your kid's going to go to hell, you're going to do everything you can to keep them from go to hell. So I think they were really trying their best on what they thought they should do. And I've got a good relationship with my father, and it's nothing like that. But, being raised in this atmosphere, very high spirituality, God's waiting to bang you on the head at any minute. If you sin, you're going to go to hell. You better repent of sin. And if you don't use your talent for the Lord, then he'll take it away from you. And that's what I was told. And so I was a music director at a church, or one of the music people at a really large mega church, not the main director, but one of the people there. And then I played at a lot of churches and things like that. And there's been a lot of deconstruction in my life, and just you grow up and you start questioning things. I think most writers and musicians question things. Mark Twain is a great writer and hilarious, but he has some pretty dark stuff out there. Right. If you go to, so we kind of ride this happy, sad, extremely sad, dark kind of, you know what it's like, Aaron. I mean, you're a writer, so you get it.
Let me ask you this, Jeff, because one of the things that struck me, and we should also say for our listeners that you have a couple of other albums out there from 20-something years ago that are, Christian or praise albums, I guess. And and you won't tell us where to find those, and that's fine. And believe me, I've looked. So I know that those did pretty well. So it's not like you're an overnight success. You're one of those overnight successes that's been working at it for the last quarter century or so. But one of the things that struck me about this album is that the songs, most of them are there. We talked about this, and I said, man, I feel like these are songs for grownups. And they're asking the kinds of questions and talking about the kind of issues that it's going to take you a few years to get to. You're going to have to live a little bit of life before these things resonate. I mean, do you think that is in fact the case? Is this a therapy for you, a sort of therapy to write these songs and work these issues out?
Yeah, no doubt. And the song Heaven, I don't want to say it's a middle finger to religion. I can't say that, but I can honestly say that when I wrote this, it's like, well, this is the heaven that I know. You know what I mean? It's like, this is what I know. I don't know if I go to heaven when I die. I don't know the answers to all of that, but this is the heaven that I know. And I think it was you, Aaron, who came up with the line "Songs for Grownups," because you helped me put a press release together. And when I read that, I'm like, wow, that really sums up what I would like people to know about the album. It even, there's fishing songs. You got 10-Foot Pole, you have Heaven, but you also have Dreamers, about a couple who were dreamers and they dreamed too long. The dream didn't happen. They split up, and that's, there's a line, the first line on that song that came to me. It feels indulgent talking about all the writing, but
that's actually why we're here. Please talk.
But the first line on that song, and the reason why I love that song, Dreamers, is because the spot on the ceiling that looked like Jesus grew every time it rained. That was the first line. And I'm like, hell yeah, that's a line. You know what it's like?
Dude, you could build a novel around that first line, much less a song. So good. So good. And I feel like I also played a very, very small role in that song. One of the lines is actually mine. So
secondhand puppy that the kid's named Clyde.
That's right.
That was the secondhand puppy was totally you, Aaron.
Yeah. I'm all about the secondhand puppy.
Because I mumble when I sing, and you thought I said secondhand puppy, but I said secondhand Huffy. Which is also a great line. And it turned out you needed another verse, and you needed the rhyme worked, and there you go. Yeah. So the secondhand puppy was even better. Well, I think it captures the childhood. I think it captures all of that stuff. The Huffy, see, when I was a kid in the 80s, I was what we called a Huffy rider. And that means I was poor. I drove a Huffy around because that was the cheap bike that you got at Walmart. So they called me a Huffy rider. So not just a Huffy, but a secondhand Huffy.
Did it have a banana seat, Jeff?
No.
Oh.
No, but we would take this Huffy and we would get all these old parts from other bikes and put them together and act like we got a new bike.
Oh, no, 100%. And that was like we all ran our own chop shops, right? And I know just listening, I want to hear Dreamers here in just a minute, but I know from one of your other songs, Oleander Street, that we had very similar childhoods in many ways, including the religious aspect. But I know that if you were anything like me and my friends, Evil Knievel was a little bit before your time, but man, I was smack right in it. And we would build ramps and give us some 2x8s or 2x6s and some cinder blocks, and we were going to hurt ourselves for sure.
You don't see kids doing that these days in the streets. I mean, we would do that. We had this big cement stone in front of our house, and I don't know how it got there. I don't know why my dad didn't get rid of it, but it was on the curb between the road and the sidewalk. And we, like you said, we put whatever you could find, you make a ramp out of that thing and you jump. It was awesome.
Yeah, for sure. And if you had younger siblings, you would make them lay down so you could jump over them and just increase the wow factor a little bit. So here's the new album. It's Jeff Troutman and the Parachute Adams Band. The title of the album is Heaven. And I cannot tell you how much I love your cover art. That is our very own Central Texas weirdo fish, the Rio Grande cichlid. And filling that in is kind of an illustration of the universe, I guess. And it reminds me of something that my friend Odem Wu says. He said, when you hold a Rio in your hands, it's like holding the Milky Way. And so I just think that's so appropriate. But let's hear Dreamers real quick, Jeff, and then come back and talk some more.
Okay.
The discount candles from the liquor store couldn't hide the low propane. Spot on the ceiling that looked like Jesus grew every time it rained. We were happy with our single wide, with a second-hand Huffy that the kids would ride. We were dreamers. I know it's been a while, but it's good to see you here. It's good to see you smile. I haven't heard your laugh in years, since we were dreamers. Drove a 20-year-old pickup truck to work most every day. Listened to old self-help books I had to find on tape. We were happy with our single ride, with a second-hand puppy that the kids named Clyde. We were dreamers. the sixth string and let's play that last number we both used to know. Say hi to the neighbor who did you the favor. You know, the one that we never talk about. I know it's been a while, but it's good to see you here. It's good to see you smile. I haven't heard your laugh in years, since we were dreamers. Funny how hope deferred can break a grown man's heart. I tried to rise above it all, but I think I tried too hard. 'Cause we were dreamers, we were dreaming, but I dreamed one day too low. When I came home from work, found the note that you wrote, realized that you were gone. I know it's been a while, but it's good to see you here. It's good to see you smile. I haven't heard your laugh in years, since we were dreamers. Sit on the porch swing, pick up the sixth string, and let's play that last number we both used to know. Say hi to the neighbor who did you the favor. You know, the one that we never talk about.
Jeff, that is such a beautiful song, and not a fly fishing song, but a life song. And there's just so much in there. I'm particularly proud of mishearing Secondhand Huffy and thinking of Secondhand Puppy, and that you used it. But it's just a fantastic song. But I have to ask you, what was the favor? I've been wondering, and I know we don't talk about it, but what'd you have in mind, bud?
That is a great question. It's there's no particular rhyme or reason. There's no favor. There's no inside story. I have our drummer Kevin Allen he said he had this idea of what the favor was, and then our bassist Troy Stansberry, he had this whole idea of what that favor was. Everyone has that. Maybe it helped her move. Maybe he stole her away from me. Maybe it was, I don't know. What is that story? We're all dreamers. I think that's part of, that's the beauty of letting the song breathe, right? Like letting people come up with their own interpretation.
Yes, 100%. I mean, that is, I think it's a hallmark of any great writing, that you can put yourself into the story, no matter who you are, what your background is, that it's plausible to put yourself into the story. And like you said, give it breathing room, give the song breathing room so that we can do that. And anyway, I love it. It's brilliant.
Thank you, man. Appreciate it so much.
Yeah. So you were just mentioning some of your band members. Tell me about the band and the name of the band. I know you and Bill on your show joke about the house band quite a bit, and this is not that house band. Tell me about it.
Yeah, it's not the house band. It's not Fecal Discharge. That band broke up. They were loosely connected. This band is a real band. It's called the Parachute Adams Band, which is named after the Parachute Adams fly, created here in Michigan. If you open up the inside of that CD cover too, you'll notice there's an Adams fly inside of that as well, which is pretty cool. So
like a real Adams fly, because mine must have fallen. Oh no, I see it. It's right here. I'm like, well,
it's a picture. Yeah.
That's awesome. You sent me a fly. You sent me something I can actually use, Jeff. That's good. Now I see the picture there. Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah. So the front is my tipping my hat to Texas. On the inside is tipping my hat to Michigan, so it's based after that. Kevin Allen, I believe, is the oldest. He just turned 54. He's going to be a grandfather here in the spring. Troy Stansberry, he's in his early 50s. He is a grandfather right now. Chris Ree was 40. He's a couple of months younger than I am, and I'm 40, right? So I've known when I first moved to Michigan back in 2002 to work at a mega church. I played music with Kevin and Troy, so we've known each other for about 20 years. And so we just kind of reconnected. I was trying the songs out at some open mics, and I worked with Kevin's wife for a while. So they came out to a brewery before the shutdown happened.
I remember that.
And he just brought his cajon. We connected, and it's like, hey, why don't we play music together? And unfortunately, it was kind of weird going in the studio and not trying out songs like I would normally do in front of a live audience. Mm-hmm. So that was kind of weird, but it worked out. So,
and Troy, did Troy play with some well-known musician before? Did you tell me that?
Yeah. So it was, I think he did something with Kid Rock. He did some stuff with him. Troy he's the best musician in the group. And he's phenomenal. He's a freak of nature. I love Troy. And so he's a Detroit. He's actually from South Haven, Michigan, but he lived in Detroit for a while over on the east side of the state. So he was in that whole thing. He was in a band called Knee Deep Shag that did pretty well in the late 90s, early 2000s as well. And he's just a very accomplished musician. Yeah. So I really like the group I'm playing with. We all click very well. And all of us, I know with Kevin and Troy and we've been taken advantage of a lot by different churches or undervalued by different people. And it's really good that we don't have a chip on our shoulder, but I can really see and appreciate what they do as artists and musicians. And one of the things that you said, you told me, when the album came out, I said, Jeff, I didn't realize you were such a good, even just arranger. You can arrange music really well. And I appreciate the comment, and I worked on that, but it's also, I can tip my hat to Kevin and Troy and Chris as well. Because they all are very good musicians. We'd rehearse and we'd work things out together as a group. So it wasn't just me, but they're awesome musicians that, with music and art and things like that, you kind of have to have this look about you, especially if you're on the stage at church. You got to be this certain style, and you got to wear skinny jeans and this and that. And, none of us really fit that. And
that worked out really well for Carl Lentz, didn't it?
Don't see, you're gonna get me drinking, and then you're gonna get me going on. You're just like Bill. You're teasing me, and you're gonna trigger me into some political or religious conversation.
No, so the very best part, and the great thing is, Jeff, with me doing this midweek episode, this show on your network, is that it's the Blue Collar Fly Fishing Podcast, and if YouTube comes after you, you can say, no, that wasn't me and Bill. That was that guy down in Texas. He's a nut.
Well, they probably don't mind us talking about Carl Lentz. What are we drinking now? What is this?
All right. So
what do we got?
So the next one up is this is Davin's rye, high rye, straight malt whiskey. So barley is still malted barley is still the main ingredient. So anyone who likes scotches or Irish whiskey, malted barley is the prime ingredient in those juices. I think they're going to really like the whiskey from Real Spirits. But this one has a high rye component, and you can smell that a little bit, or I can anyway. I get a little bit of that peppery, spicy note on the nose. Mm. And I definitely get it on the palate.
Wow. That's smooth, man. That's over 27 months. It looks like it's been aged.
Yeah, at least 27 months. So that means that the youngest barrel that went into it was 27 months. And it's 100 proof, 50%. The last one was 106 proof. And so it has a little more bite on the back end, I think, which people who like rye whiskeys will really like that. It's got, but it still has that really nice kind of lingering warm finish, not quite as soft as the 4-grain whiskey. And I guess we should mention that Real Ale and Real Spirits, they're sponsoring this show. And that's not the only reason we're talking about their whiskeys, because I would have done this anyway.
And we love Davin.
And we love Davin. Davin, who is a writer, a fishing guide, a music lover, a hunting guide. He was a rafting guide in Utah when he worked, or before he worked for High West Distillery out there, and just a fabulous distiller. And I'll tell you what, this Real Spirits and Real Ale down in Blanco have just done a phenomenal job of taking care of their staff and taking care of their customers during this pandemic. They switched over to hand sanitizer production when there was no hand sanitizer to be had, and donated a whole bunch of it to first responders and hospitals and whatnot. So they're just really quality folks.
Yeah, this is great. Now, they distribute in Texas. Can you get this at the local liquor store, or do you got to get to go to Blanco to get it?
You can get the spirits at any Total Wine in the state, and really any liquor store. Just let them know you want it, and they can get it through their distributors. But Total Wine, any of the Total Wines across the state will typically have it in stock. Some specs may have it, but you can only get it in Texas. And that's also true for the beers. The Real Ale beers are distributed all across the state, but you're going to have to come to Texas to get them. It's kind of like Coors in the 70s, right? You had to go to Colorado.
Yeah. That's really cool. That's a great tasting whiskey right there. And I think it's taking the varnish off my piano.
Oh, man. Oh, did you spill it?
I did spill it. I don't care, though, because this piano is old and out of tune, and I wanted to cover it with fishing stickers, but my wife wouldn't let me. She's like, no, I mean, you can't do that.
Ooh, you could cover it with fishing stickers and then revarnish it. That would look kind of cool.
That would be kind of cool, because I got this piano for free. My buddy had to get rid of it because he got a new piano, and he said, anybody want it on Facebook, or as we call it, the Facebook on our podcast.
Yeah. And
I said, I'll have it. And him and his brother moved it over for me, and it's been fantastic.
What kind of piano is it?
I don't know. Let me see here. It's the name's all worn off. Definitely not a Steinway or anything.
Jeff, what's the next song that you would like to play for us? Well, first of all, have you talked to Bob White lately?
Yeah, we've been talking a lot more since the album came out. I think he was kind of surprised. He was on our first episode this season, and I was hoping the album would be done by then. But with COVID and a lot of other delays, I wasn't able to present it to him necessarily like how I wanted to present to him, live. Hold on, I got something for you, But yeah.
Did he pre-order the album and he just got it and it's like, oh wait, there's my name?
No. So whenever I did the pre-order, people who pre-ordered, I sent out a digital copy first, so you guys heard it first. I sent him a copy. I don't kid myself thinking he's waiting around to hear my album, come out. Mm-hmm. So I sent it to him with a copy of the lyrics with the chords and the chart, written out. And he was really, really surprised, really shocked that I would do that. And I wrote that song after I interviewed him in 2017 but I didn't want to present it to him. And it was like, I wanted to present it to him in a good way. But I've been sitting on that song for like 3 years. It still didn't quite come out like I wanted to, because it's the songs that really wanted it to be right, And unfortunately, it still came out great, but it was just not really what. But it's based on his essay, Road to Epiphany, which you can find on our website and his website too, I believe.
And also his American Icons series of paintings. Is that the right name for the series?
Yeah, Icon series. There's a painting in there called Bison. Mm-hmm. So this song is a conversation between me and the bison, right? And the bison says, "I see you standing there staring at me. So that's the bison talking to me on this journey. You know, at the very end, I'm talking to the bison. You know, I see you standing there staring at me. Yes, I still do have my doubts, but I'll trust you and hope that wherever you lead me, you know, so it's this conversation back and forth, and it's very artsy. It's very ambiguous. Like, what is going on here? You know, but that's really what it is. It's a conversation between me and the buffalo, and the raven. So,
and it's really kind of a song about searching and about the journey, I think, and that's something Bob's written about. I know in that essay and elsewhere, man, his paintings are it gives me goosebumps just thinking about them. I mean, he is such an incredible artist and illustrator, and what an honor that he's become a friend of yours, and that he was kind enough to be on the show a couple of times and to help you out, especially in your first season when you were an unknown at that time, really. Completely
unknown. I mean, I told the story before. There weren't a whole lot of podcasts out back then. They were just now kind of starting to take off. And I would email 10 people a night on LinkedIn until someone would say yes. And he answered me right away. Him and Joe DeMalderis, who was on that podcast recently, I was a nobody. And when he sent The Road to Epiphany, it was almost like this nudge, like you're on the right track. Like here's something that you may not see, but this is a confirmation that you're on the right journey. When I read his essay,
right,
and saw the bison. As a matter of fact, I got this. I know it's kind of weird, but I'm obsessed with bison now. So I'll take this off. I got this sweet bison belt buckle here.
Oh, dude, that is so awesome.
Dude, I'll die with this belt on. It's so cheesy.
Yeah. And I'm not gonna lie. I was a little worried when I saw you fiddling around below the camera there. But go on.
I've had a couple bourbons in me, or a couple whiskeys in me now, so I don't know. You never know what's gonna happen next.
No, that's beautiful. That looks like it's cast bronze or something.
Yeah, I got this up in Mackinac City. And it's got the Oakley, you know, so I go up there with my family. And if you know anything about Mackinac City, not Mackinac Island, but Mackinac City, it's just a bunch of like cheap T-shirt places. And it's just one of those, I mean, whatever.
It's like Port Aransas or South Padre Island in Texas, right?
Yeah, exactly. So I went into this old buffalo store. The guy has a huge buffalo. I said, this guy's got a story to tell. He had Trump flags everywhere, you know, and all that stuff. So, you know, he's probably like a craggly old man. So I go in there. And he tells me the whole story. He starts going on about his life. And he was like so happy that I talked to him. And I saw this buffalo buckle. And I'm like, what is it going to cost me to get a belt like that? And he gave me a good deal on it. And he probably charged me twice as much as what it's worth, but whatever.
Hey, yeah. So next time you're down, let's go to Palo Duro, take a trip out west and see the Texas State bison herd.
Okay.
Because I'd love to get a picture of you with your guitar facing off with a big old bull buffalo. I think that would be kind of cool.
Now it's not the time or the place to talk about this, but I grew up in Texas, so my uncle's brother, no, I'm sorry, my uncle's neighbor committed murder in Corsicana, Texas. And he owned a big wildlife farm. He was a really rich guy in town.
And he had bison there?
He had bison and zebra and all that stuff, you know. And this was back in the 80s.
As one does in Texas when you have a lot of money. I mean, that's what you do. You go out and buy a lot of wildlife.
Exotic animals. Why wouldn't you?
Right.
But the dude committed murder with I can't say the whole story here, but let's just say it could make for an interesting podcast series. That's for sure.
Oh, all right.
Anyways, you want to play the song? You want to play Ode to Bob White?
Let's do it. Here we go. The song's called Raven, or Ode to Bob White. And it's on Jeff's new album, Heaven.
Just out across the western plain, a desert rose of crayon sky. That's where you looked and there you smiled back at me. Under the tree, you spoke to me with broken words. Word you learned some years ago from a man who said he'd heal your broken heart, fill you with a sacred ghost. I see you standing there staring at me. I see you still have your doubts, but trust me and know that wherever I lead you, you'll find the answer that you're seeking out. I'm just a traveler, you see. I'm on a journey far from home. I spoke to Raven and she said I'd find you here under a tree. I traveled through the desert night. I used the stars to be my guide. I trusted something that I don't quite understand, but I knew that you'd be here. I see you standing there staring at me. I see you still have your doubts, but trust me and know that wherever I lead you, you'll find the answer that you're seeking out. I see you standing there staring at me. Yes, I still do have my doubt, but I'll trust you and hope that wherever you lead me, I'll find the answer that I'm seeking out.
Jeff, that's a beautiful song. And
Thank you.
Really, I mean, again, there's breathing room in there. And I think a lot of us can put ourselves into that story, and it'll lead us down different paths. So thanks for that, man. That was really awesome. And thanks to Bob White for inspiring it. I mean, he's such a phenomenal artist himself. And the fact that here we have a song, that was inspired by a painting, that's pretty cool that we're crossing genres like that.
Yeah. I mean, I got a very nice email from Bob, and he explained, like painting, and he's got a lot of friends who are songwriters, and he's like, the process of painting and the processes of songwriting are pretty similar. We have our processes and they do cross over pretty naturally. I mean, We've had Paul Puckett on the show. He's quite the artist as well, but he plays guitar. We've had some artists. The more artists I talk about, I mean, we are kind of from the same bird, different feathers, but from the same bird.
Yeah, you've talked about this a lot on your show, that there's something about fly fishing that Lentz, and I think I read somewhere once that some incredible majority percentage of all the fishing literature in the world that has ever been written is fly fishing.
I think it's like 80%. I think it's like 80% of fishing is fly fishing books.
And we are a tiny niche within fishing overall. Like 1/40th of the entire. If you look at it from industry statistics, and the amount of money people spend and the number of participants, we're a tiny little blip on the radar, 2.5%, 3%, 4%, 5% maybe at the tops. But there's just something about fly fishing, I think, that number one binds us together. You meet someone who's a fly angler, and we have a lot in common right off the bat. We care about rivers. We're not probably so concerned about how many fish we catch or how big the fish are. Although, I mean, there's nothing wrong with that, and I like big fish, and I like catching fish. But but we're also really concerned about where we go, and a little bit choosy about who we go with, and part of that's just because fly fishing takes more room, mechanically than gear fishing. I mean, you can't stand shoulder to shoulder and cast easily. And it's also, our friend Greg DeMar says that you're purposefully disadvantaging yourself when you fly fish. And you have to. That's a good right? point. And which we could say is sporting. We could say it's stupid. We could probably say definitively that if we were really depending on angling to put food on the table, that we would not do it with a fly rod. I mean, I'd be doing it with a cast net probably, but it's, so there's a certain abnegation of ego, there that I think comes with the sport. You have to be willing to make sloppy casts and choose the wrong fly and tie ugly flies and miss a lot of fish and be okay with that. So I don't know. I think there's a certain amount of humility that comes with it as well. And I don't know. All of that together, I think, tends to select for a group of people who are sort of like-minded and get along well together. And I mean, that's been my experience anyway. And certainly last June when we all got together down here in Texas, what an incredible fun time that was, right? I mean,
oh man. Yeah. That was, I still think about that quite frequently, just hanging out with everybody, like everyone is there, it's like a dream. It was so cool. But, I mean, you recently wrote a book, Fly Fishing Austin in Central Texas. I mean, you can be as coy as you want to be, but I mean, it was a damn good book, Aaron. I mean, you're an award-winning author, this and that. Now, if you would have wrote a book about the best spin casting of Austin, Texas, you probably wouldn't have sold as many books. And I think I love to spin cast, sometimes I have no qualms against it, but it seems like people who fly fish we appreciate the finer things in life. Or maybe we just kid ourselves, maybe it's our insecurity that makes us say, well, but it's just like, we like to read, we're a pretty well-educated group of guys, either from college or not college, but we're smarter people. I don't know how to say it. We think differently. Let's just put it that way. And like my friend Matt Peisert said a couple times on the show, he's like, people who fly fish are people who like to do things the hard way. And it's very true. No, that's exactly right. And exactly what Greg said, we purposefully disadvantage ourselves. Right. And you've got to surrender a little bit of your ego to do that. And maybe if we were smarter, we wouldn't do that, and we'd be throwing that Super Spook Junior on a bait caster, which I still love to do. I mean, sometimes a bait caster or a spinning rod
is the right tool.
Right.
But more often than not, and particularly close to home here on these rivers in Central Texas and the rivers I like to fish out west, a 3-weight is more often the appropriate tool.
Yeah, it's funny because I go here to the Flat River, which is my favorite river to fish in Michigan. It's a smallmouth bass. Maybe it's the Texan in me, but I like to go out with some Tevas and some swim trunks and a t-shirt in the middle of summer and fish these tiny little fish,
No, that's totally the Texan in you. That's you can take the boy out of South Texas. You can't take South Texas out of the boy.
I get surrounded by trout streams and I'm going to the warm water fishery, but it's funny because I took my son there. He was 7 at the time. He might've been 6 and he had a Zebco 202, and he's fishing upstream for me a little bit in case he falls in or whatever. I've been fishing this hole for years, and he has just a little old night crawler on his Zebco and he catches the huge smallmouth bass, one of the largest I've ever seen come out of that area. And he's kind of bored with it. He's like, can I go swimming now, Dad? I'm like, sure, and I'm like, I kept him fly fishing for that thing for 4 years and I never caught anything that nice,
Yeah. No, that's great. And it's fantastic that he had, that he caught that fish and he'll have that memory. And, even if he thought it was just kind of, whatever, just the way the day went, he'll look back on it, I think, especially if he gets into fly fishing more as he's older, he'll look back on it and say, good grief, I never knew what a big deal that was, but how cool that I got to do that,
For sure, yeah.
Man. And listen, and no less an authority than Tom Rosenbauer from Orvis. I was listening to his guide podcast the other day, and he always answers the mail for the first 30 minutes or so, and he had a question from a guy who is, hiking in somewhere, and he's like, what kind of waders should I take? What kind of boots? It's a summertime trip. And Tom's like, I honestly skip all that. I mean, he said, if I'm fishing those high mountain streams, I'm wading in a pair of shorts and a pair of sandals. So this is the guy whose company makes great waders, and he told the guy to skip it and wear board shorts and sandals. So you're not alone.
So what's this last one that we have, this last whiskey? Did we go through all 3 already or not?
No, we've only gone through 2.
Okay.
I think I know what it is. Let me go grab the bottle.
It's the Signature Select, I believe.
Yeah. Yeah, so this is kind of a really let's see if I can get that. There you go. I don't know. Is that showing up?
Yeah, it is. We'll put the names too in the show notes.
Awesome. Yeah, so this was a barrel selection by the members of the Texas Whiskey Trail, which is a tasting group. It's kind of modeled on the Kentucky Bourbon Trail thing, Texas Whiskey Association. And these guys are all about grain to glass distillers, folks who really make their stuff here in Texas and do it the right way, or if they're on the way to doing that, or at least transparent about the fact that they get their juice from, a producer in Indiana or something. And by the way, all of Davin's whiskeys, all of Real Spirits whiskeys are 100% grain to glass in Texas. I mean, they brew the wash and distill it and age it all right here. It's not getting juice from anyone else. So this one is aged at least 26 months. It's a blend. It's bottle number 1928. It was a limited edition. You can still get it at Total Wine, I believe. And you can also check out Texas Whiskey Trail. Quick Google search will get you there. So this is the Signature Select. And the thing that's kind of cool about this one, I think it's also a 100 proof, 50% whiskey. And this one was finished in port wine barrels. And I get a little bit of that fruitiness, kind of like figs or something maybe on the nose for that.
Wow. It's delicious. Wow.
Yeah. So what would you say about this one, Jeff? I mean, compared to the other two.
I think I like that Signature Select the best. That's the second one that we had. I really like that one the best.
The second one we had was the rye.
The rye. Okay. Yeah. That's the one I like the best.
Okay.
I'm going to throw these bottles around. This one's probably my least favorite. I still like it.
Yep.
But, I'm a gin guy and I like bourbon, but this is, so I don't even know how to say, I don't want to sound like an idiot whenever I talk about it, but it's it's good. It's still amazing. Everything that I've had from them. And even what is that? Tomahawk or what's the other stuff?
The totem.
The totem is bad as the bone, dude.
Well, I'll tell you what, next time I have you on my show, or next time you have me on your show, whichever, I'll send you a gin sample. Cause I actually have a bottle of gin and, I was in a whiskey mood. I love gin as well. But Davin's gin, his Texas Hill Country gin has bottle brush in it. I think he was the first distiller to use bottle brush, had to get FDA approval and the whole thing. But it's quite tasty as well. And I like it with the Fever Tree elderflower tonic water. I know you've been using elderflower in your gin and tonics lately as well. Yeah,
not the Saint Germain, but I'm using another elderflower liqueur. And then I'll really up my game after I talked to you last time, and I'm using the Fever Tree as well. It's like you take one part, elderflower liqueur, you take a Fever Tree, and 2 parts of good gin. It's like, my God, it's just amazing. Yeah, that's all you need, bro.
That's it. Well, that and a river, right?
And a river, man. Yeah.
Yeah. I'd like to mention one of our other sponsors that we have coming on board, and it's Duck Camp. And our good friend Dave Fason does a lot of their photography and introduced us to the folks at Duck Camp. And they have a new spring fishing lineup coming out. Dave was just down in Belize shooting their images, which I know that just killed him to be down there doing that. But they have some great outerwear coming up, a new reversible DryDown vest, which is really cool, and a jacket as well. I think the colors on the vest and the jacket are tarpon and blue heron or something like that, but they're really cool, kind of a muted gray and blue. So we're real happy to have them on board as well.
Yeah, we got them. We've got Real Spirits. And was there anyone, obviously your publisher as well?
My publisher, Imbrifex Books. I don't know if you can see kind of the lights kind of glaring off our logo back there. Imbrifex Books, the Local Angler series, thelocalangler.com is underwriting this show. Books for the Journey is their tagline, and I believe it's so true. And I'm currently editing 3 more titles in the Local Angler series, and we have a couple more that I can't talk about yet that are well outside of Texas, but I'm super excited about and hope to be able to talk about those on future shows.
Good. Yeah, we really appreciate all that. We appreciate our sponsors. We appreciate Imbrifex Books, Mark and Sedenquist, and all that they've done for us. So we really appreciate that very much. It's really and a lot of people are listening in. Be sure to go check out remotenопроessure.com. We actually have some shirts with Bob White's art. He gets a percentage of any kind of revenue we get off of that. So support your artists, we get that. Leave no trace. Look at that shirt.
We also have, I chose my shirt. I had on a Nate Carnes Guadalupe Bass shirt, our good buddy Nate Carnes. The Texas Guadalupe Bass dude on there. And that shirt's black. And so, it's slimming. And that's something that I need to think about because unlike you, Jeff, I don't have a personal trainer.
Yeah.
So but I thought, for this show, for our bonus episode, the one that's kicking this whole series off, I'm going to wear my Leave No Trace. And there have also been reports of Sasquatches in the neighborhood recently, and I just feel safer with headphones on because, I can't tell if someone's walking up behind me or, coming through the window.
Yeah.
So I know that
we back up the warranty, man. You get attacked by a Sasquatch, we're going to give you your money back and $100 bill. So.
And $100 bill as well. Yeah. But it requires a photo, right? So.
It requires a photo. It could be grainy, could be very clear, but nonetheless.
So Jeff, where can people find this podcast as well as Remote No Pressure? Obviously, remotenopressure.com. I'll have links on bluecollarflyfishing.com. I think all of our sponsors will probably have links to the show, but what platforms are we going to be on, and where can people find this?
Any kind of podcast platform is distributed on all of your on your Apple, iTunes. I've had a lot of whiskey so far, so I may slur my speech a little bit. But anywhere you normally listen to any kind of podcast, you're going to be able to find it. So be sure to check it out on whatever your favorite podcast is. Be sure to subscribe also on YouTube as well. YouTube is really where we're really pushing this season. Once we get to 1,000 followers on that, we can start monetizing that. So that's a big push for us. So be sure to go and subscribe. Check out some of our backlog as well. Some of the people that we've talked about today: Paul Puckett, Nate Carnes. You've got Chris Barclay's dad hat on. We've had these guys on the show. So go back and listen to the shows. Check out Bob White's interview. I mean, it's been a long journey. We got a pretty deep bench now. It's been a little while. So
4 seasons. Can you believe it? And you guys got a new studio this year.
Mm-hmm.
And do you want to talk about some of the other stuff that's coming up in 2021 for Remote No Pressure, because it's kind of exciting?
Yeah, we really want to take this thing on the road. So take it out to where we have kind of a fly fishing variety show where people can come and learn how to tie flies. We have a live podcast, and then the band will be there playing some music as well. So we're very, very excited about that. So watch, and also if you would like us to come play where you're at or put on a show, let us know. We'll try to make it happen. So we're very excited. We're hoping Big Gretch, our governor, opens things up here soon, that safely, and that everyone gets their vaccination so we can just kind of move on and open things up again. So that's what we're pushing for.
I'm really hopeful that the next South by Southwest can be in person, which would safely be in person, which would be great for Austin, and also I can think of a couple of venues where maybe we could get you guys a showcase or get you guys in and do a fly fishing thing as well. So I think that would be really exciting.
That's what we want. That's what we want to do. I remember the year I started this podcast, I didn't know one person in the industry, and we were in Texas when it launched. And I told my wife, this is the date we're starting it. I don't care where we're at. We're on the middle of vacation. It's when we started it, and I remember we were on Congress at the Yeti store, and I was walking through there, and I'm like, wow, I would like to play on that stage one day, or I would like to get to know some of these people. And I never knew it would turn into what it is. Yeah.
Yeti has a fantastic stage and location, but our sponsor Duck Camp also has an incredible location in East Austin, which is really, even in the last 4 years, has really boomed, and it is kind of the cool part of town now. And they have an incredible, this old historic home that they've turned into their showroom and offices. And I betcha we could get you guys in there, or at least on the back patio, and play a show.
Yeah, we'll figure it out, man.
Yeah.
But watch our website, remotenopressure.com, sign up for our mailing list as well, and you'll receive updates on where we're going to be and what we're doing. So we're so excited about that. Yeah.
And Jeff, we're going to be doing some giveaways as we go forward over the next 6 weeks. And when you and I first started talking about this, we said, hey, we'll give it a shot every other week for midweek on Wednesdays, we'll release my shows and see how it goes. I'm busy. You're busy. I have a face made for radio and a voice made for print, which is where I ended up as a journalist. So, who knows if this will work out? But the more I think about it, the more excited I get, and the more guests I can think that, oh man, I've got to have this person on and that person on, and and it's mostly because I want to talk to these people, and it's just an excuse to be face to face, even remotely, with some people that I really respect a lot and think the world of, and maybe haven't even had the opportunity to meet in person. We're going to have April Vokey on later in this series, and I'm not sure. I think she's still in Australia at the moment, not in BC. But so we'll be doing that across the international date line, and she'll be talking to us from the future, so she can tell us what's going to happen tomorrow. So anyway, I'm just super excited about it, and I keep coming up with more and more guests, and hopefully this will roll on for a while.
That's great, Aaron. I'm really looking forward to what's going on. So,
and thank you, and thank you for the opportunity, and Bill, thank you for cobbling this together and salvaging my audio and video files.
That's great. Cool, man.
Before we go, let's play one more song. Do you want to do one live, or do you want to do it from the album with the band?
Let's just do it. Let's do it from the album. Would be good.
Okay. Let's play. How about 10-Foot Pole, man?
Let's do that.
And do you want to say something about this before we spin it? You said that this was the first fishing song you wrote. Is that correct?
Yeah, it's the first fishing song I ever wrote. My father-in-law and I were in his living room. He ties up spawn sacks and goes for steelhead with spawn sacks and trout. Goes for trout and steelhead and stuff.
Is a spawn sack like a ball bag?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Spawn sack, ball bag. But he ties up spawn sacks, so that's where the first line, up all night tying up spawn, got to get up at the butt crack of dawn, and we wanted to write the most redneck fishing song, so I had to put beer in there. My wife yelling at me, I'm late, I'm back at, just kind of a goof. And it is a fun song, and it's so funny because it's, as I've been doing this press stuff, I've been really pushing the heaven, because that's our title track. It's super professional. It's the depth, but
it's very refined. It's ethereal. It's like high-minded. Yeah.
But
nobody wants that crap. They want to hear the road trip anthem.
Everyone listens to 10-Foot Pole. The numbers don't lie. I'm like, what the heck is this? So this is 10-Foot Pole. I guess we could go out on that, Aaron. Thank you so much for considering me and talking to me today.
Jeff, thank you, man. And I can't wait to see your face in person.
I know. Can't come soon enough, Aaron. Thank you very much.
Thank you, man. Here we go. 10-Foot Pole from Jeff Troutman and the Parachute Adams Band. Their new album, Heaven.
Well, I was up all night, tying up spawn. Gotta get up at the butt crack of dawn. I'll be gone. Wife says if I go, well, I could go to hell. But I could have my limit by 11:45. I'll be gone. Well, there's something about my 10-foot pole. It's sitting on the beach in my fishing hole. Setting a hook just helps me sail away. And I'm gone, baby, I'm gone. Got in an altercation with a fishing guide, so I threw him in the river. When I passed him by, now he's gone. His girlfriend started screaming, so I threw her a beer. She popped the top and then she disappeared. Now she's gone. Well, there's something about my 10-foot pole. It's sitting on the beach of my fishing hole. Setting a hook just helps me sail away. And I'm gone, baby, I'm gone. I got in about 8:15. I admit I was a little bit late, but she's gone. My baby, she's gone. So I loaded up the cooler with some more cold beer, loaded up the truck and headed out to the pier, 'cause she's gone. My baby, she's gone. Well, there's something about my 10-foot pole, and sitting on the beach in my fishing hole, setting a hook just helps me sail away. And I'm gone, baby, I'm gone. Well, there's something about my 10-foot pole, and sitting on the beach in my fishing hole, setting a hook just helps me sail